World War III fears as Russia breaks promise with Israel by sending missiles through Syria. Russia has broken its promise to keep out of the Middle East crisis by arming war-torn Syria with advanced surface-to-air missiles. The decision to deploy the S-300S comes after a Russian military aircraft was shot down over Syria last week during an Israeli airstrike. Vladimir Putin initially appeared to accept the loss as an accident, but the Kremlin has blamed Israel for the attack, saying Israeli jets on a bombing raid intentionally used the Russian Il-20 reconnaissance plane as cover. Moscow said relations with Israel had been damaged by the downing of the plane and the deaths of the 15 personnel aboard. Mr. Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov said, according to information from our military experts, this tragedy was caused by deliberate actions by Israeli pilots, which certainly cannot but damage our relations. You know that Israel and the Russian Federation have quite advanced relations. Everything had worked correctly until this tragedy. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said the country would deploy batteries of its S-300 air defense missile systems in Syria in what it said was a retaliatory move. Russia had initially held off at the request of Israel. He said, "Please note that we suspended the delivery of the S-300 system to Syria in 2013 at the request of Israel. It was ready to be shipped and Syrian servicemen received relevant training. The situation has now changed. We are convinced the implementation of these measures will cool hotheads and deter unreasonable actions that threaten our servicemen." Russia plans to deploy the S-300S, which will replace less effective S-200 systems, in the next fortnight, and defense analysts believe it will pose a significantly increased danger to Israeli aircraft seeking to attack Syrian targets. The S-300 is capable of intercepting air attacks more than 150 miles away and can hit multiple targets simultaneously. Israel has denied responsibility for shooting down the plane and sent its Air Force chief to Moscow for hastily arranged meetings with Russian officials to explain the incident. The Kremlin has always sought strong relations with Israel despite improved ties with countries such as Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. But defense analysts have highlighted the risk of clashes between foreign armed forces in Syria's 7-year war, given the complex web of alliances and competing military aims of the nations involved. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to continue military operations in Syria despite the Russian announcement. He said, "We will continue to act to prevent Iranian military entrenchment in Syria, and we will continue the military coordination between the Israel Defense Forces and the Russian army."
Alright, shalom. This is Canucks and Anbun Yashala from the GMS Lions Den Camp. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory and praise and say Kal Halal, La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harakakwadash, Ma'ma. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Archon that are archaeated pod and prophecy, pushing his truth and sincerity and truth. And peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Alright, this is Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And you see the tensions heating up between Israel and Russia, and that's some of the things that we're waiting on for our salvation, man. You know, like how Yahushua said when he was on the scene, that these things must happen in order for our salvation. You know what I'm saying? It says in the scriptures, when you see all these things up, look up because your salvation is nearer than what you believe. So we're almost out of here, man. It says Matthew 24:7. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrow." All right, so once everything heightens and escalates, then you're gonna have the RFID chip. And it's gonna be mandatory, and then after that. That's when the missiles are gonna come, man. You know, but the Lord is doing, but the Lord's preparing us by showing us these prophecies, letting us see the things that are happening beforehand. All right, so we'll be well prepared in those days. All right, this is all right. Psalms 33:18. It says, "Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear Him, upon them that hope in His mercy, to deliver their soul from death and keep them alive in famine." All right, and that's how He's preparing us to keep us solidified, because it says what? Knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of that time and strength of salvation. And the fear of the Lord is His treasure. You know, so the ones that pay attention to everything that's going on, those are the ones that are going to be occupied in prophecy. Those are His elect. Okay, it says, "Our soul waiteth for the Lord; He is our help and our shield. For our heart shall rejoice in Him, because He has trusted it. Because we have trusted in His holy name." That's why the name is important, man. So if you don't have the right name to call upon, how can you get salvation? You got to know His name. All right, Shalaki, Shalaki. All right, it says, "Let Thy mercy, O Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, be upon us according as we hope in Thee." So that's why He makes us seers and hearers. We're able to understand His word and see these prophecies before they come to pass. All right. Let me get Sirach 39:1. It says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecy." All right. "He will keep the saying of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also." And that's just it. That's why we occupy and we watch the news and we stay in these scriptures, because the things that are written aforetime were written for our learning. You know, so we would know what's going to happen, because you understand, the old saying that history repeats itself. All right, it says, "He will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be also he will be there also." Shalaki. "He will seek out the secrets of the grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables." All right, so that's why we understand that all these things need to happen, need to come to pass in order for our salvation to come. You got to get Esau out of the way. All right, "He shall serve among great men and appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries, for he hath tried the good and the evil among men. He will give his heart to resort early to the Lord that made him." He said, yeah, that's right, because he says, "Those that seek me early shall find me. Seek me while I may be found." And that's what the elect are going to do. They're going to be occupied in prophecy, and their doctrine is going to be based upon prophecy. Just like how Apostle Tahar said, 2018 is a year of prophecy. All right. All right. "He will give his heart to resort early to the Lord that made him, and will pray before the Most High, and will open his mouth in prayer and make supplications for his sins." And that's just it. All right. Because, that's the reason for all these prophecies, because the Lord said all these things must happen because He spoke of it. and his word will not return on to him void. So he doesn't make any vain speeches. It says, Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 1, it says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spoke of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So this all has been spoken from the beginning. It's already happened in the spiritual realm because the Most High spoke it, but it's just being manifested here on earth now. All right. All right. It says, For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning, and the end is and the end is made manifest. All right. That's why it says is given for. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Well, real quick. And the end is made manifest, but how are we going to know when is the end? All right. All right. It says, this is 2 Ezra chapter 6 and 7. It says, Then answered I and said, What shall there be the parting asunder of times, or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followed? Because Jacob is the beginning of the father. It says, And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, and that's just the point. Now we're seeing the destruction of the so-called white man, which is the devil, which his biblical name is Esau. So we're seeing his downfall, and what happens after that? We're going to be set up. The elect of Israel are going to be set up, and then the 2/3 are going to be born in. So we're going to inherit the kingdom with Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, you know. As a matter of fact, let me get one more scripture. I'm not going to make this too long. Let me get Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 28. It says, Therefore say unto them, Thus saith the Lord, there shall no more of my words be prolonged anymore. It says, There shall none of my words be prolonged anymore, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So now, with that being said, like I said before, his word doesn't return on him void. So once he says it, once he speaks it, it automatically comes into existence. You can put a stamp on it, you know. So we're coming to the end of this thing in the beginning of life. We're coming to the end of the age of death because Esau is death. Matter of fact, I'm gonna close it out on that. It says, no, it's not. Let's have a quick. It's like it. All right, this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1, because when we're going into the transition of death into life, because Esau's kingdom is a perverse kingdom, it's a kingdom of death, and he's as large as his desires as hell. All right, this is Habakkuk 2 and 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me. And that's what we do. We're watching for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, watching and waiting for these prophecies to come to pass, and we go out and prophesy. All right. And what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. And that us writing on the table today is us doing these videos and going out there on the highways and byways teaching. All right. It says, For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up in him, is not upright. And what is he talking about in him? What is he talking about? He's talking about Esau, because Esau is the end of the world. So he has to get rid of the wicked before he can set up a righteous kingdom. All right, it says, Behold, his soul, which is lifted up in him, is not upright in him. But the just shall live by faith. And faith in what? In the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Scripture says the name of the Lord is a strong tower. All right, those that believe will run into it and they'll be safe. All right, but what happens if you don't have the proper name? You have nowhere to run. You know, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. But it said, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. And that's where you see the so-called white man going everywhere trying to take over stuff that's not even his. It says, who enlarges his desires as hell and is as death. And that's the thing. Yahushua is life. So when he sets up his kingdom on earth, that's when we begin to live, because we're in a dead state right now. But his elect have woken up and came out of that sleep, and they're no longer dead because they're no longer born from the flesh. They're born from heaven because they're living according to the Spirit. All right. It says, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heap it unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against them, a taunting proverb against them, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that laded himself with thick clay. And the one that laded his stuff with thick clay is America, man. But really, the so-called white man's in debt to Yahweh Shem Yahushai for taking his children and taking his gold and taking his land. All right, I'm going to close it out on that, man. We're almost out of here. These prophecies are quickly coming to pass, man. So, man, just stay in that same spirit, man. Stay in that book and stay watching the news and stay watching these videos and stay watching for these prophecies, all right? I want to give all glory and praise. Say, Kal Halal La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harvard Karkwadash, my mom. Double honors to the elder apostle of the great millstone. And salutation to the archon that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth throughout the four corners of the earth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Shalom.